A wonderful evening to you. It is primetime news on MITV Plus. I am Layo Shobo for Lauren Shaw, and our top stories for tonight. Tinubu convenes emergency security meeting over Bronu airstrike fallout. Federal government waives import duties on mass transit buses, electric vehicles, others. And on the foreign scene, Trump says Iranian ships to be eliminated as U.S. naval blockade begins. In sports, La Liga leaders Barcelona face Atletico Madrid. And now the news in details. The federal government has granted a waiver on import duties for mass transit buses, electric vehicles, and manufacturing machinery. The development followed President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's directive to key economic officials to design measures to cushion the impact of the ongoing Middle East crisis on Nigerians, particularly amid rising fuel prices. A disclosure contained in an X post on Monday by Dada Olusegun, the special assistant to the president on social media, noted that the move is part of new fiscal measures aimed at easing economic pressure on Nigerians and curbing inflationary pressures. Olusegun said the Tinubu administration approved a broad set of import duty reductions to lower inflation, support businesses, and improve affordability for consumers. Under the new policy, import duties on electric vehicles were reduced from 5% to 0%, while mass transit buses were granted full duty exemption down from 5% to 0% to encourage cheaper public transportation and support cleaner mobility alternatives. The levy on manufacturing machinery was equally scrapped, falling from 5% to 0% in a move aimed at lowering production costs and boosting industrial activity. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on Monday convened an emergency security meeting with service chiefs and heads of intelligence agencies at the State House, Abuja, amid mounting concerns over the country's deteriorating security environment and the fallout from a controversial airstrike in Borno State. The closed-door session brought together the Chief of Defense Staff, General Olufemi Oluyede, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Waide Shaibu, Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Idi Abbas, Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sunday Aneke, Director General of the Department of State Services, DSS, Oluwatosin Ajayi, Director General of the National Intelligence Agency, NIA, Ambassador Mohammed, and the Inspector General of Police, Sunji Diso. Also in attendance was the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, alongside other security officials. The emergency meeting came against the backdrop of a controversial Nigerian Air Force airstrike in Borno State, which has triggered widespread concern following reports of heavy civilian casualties. And still on the security situation, the Nigerian military on Monday said a commanding officer and 6 other soldiers of the Joint Task Force Northeast Operation Hadinkai paid the supreme price after his troops successfully repelled a terrorist attack in Monguno, Borno State. It said the incident occurred late on April 12 when troops of Sector 3 came under an isolated attack by terrorists at the Charlie 13 location. According to a statement issued by Lieutenant Colonel Sani Uba, the troops engaged the attackers in a fierce gun battle, forcing them to retreat while maintaining control of the area. However, tragedy struck shortly after the encounter as the commanding officer, who had moved to the front line to assess the situation, was killed by an improvised explosive device, IED. The military said the IED severely affected his vehicle, leading to his death alongside 6 other gallant personnel. According to the statement, the commanding officer's actions, even after the immediate threat had been neutralized, reflected the highest tradition of military leadership, of courage, selfless service, and leading from the front. Yobe state government has said the Jili community affected by the military airstrikes is a Boko Haram stronghold in the Gubbio local government area of Borno State. The security advisor to the governor, Brigadier General Dahiru Abdusalam, retired, disclosed this in a press statement to journalists while clarifying whether the incident happened in Yobe or Borno State, noting that it became necessary to set the record straight. Abdulsalam confirmed that the air component of the Joint Task Force Northeast Operation Hadinkai conducted an airstrike mission on Jili, a Boko Haram stronghold of Gubbio local government area in the state on Saturday, April 11. He also disclosed that some of the injured came from Gaydam but had been moved to a hospital. Meanwhile, the Chief Medical Director, CMD of Maiduguri Specialist Hospital, Dr. Sheu Mohammed, has confirmed the receipt of 21 injured people from the airstrike who were receiving medical attention. Mohammed revealed that all the victims were in stable conditions, but some needed blood transfusions before they could undergo surgeries. He urged the residents to support the victims through blood donation. Several people were feared killed following the airstrikes at the market located at the border community. Ekiti State Police Command has intensified efforts to secure the state's borders as part of renewed operations to prevent the influx of criminals. Speaking at the police headquarters in Ado-Ekiti, the Commissioner of Police, Michael Falade, assured residents that security agencies are fully mobilized and working in synergy to sustain peace across the state. The CP explained that the operation, which includes extensive bush combing and strategic deployment of personnel, is aimed at preventing suspected bandits and kidnappers from infiltrating Ekiti through its borders with neighboring states. According to him, the move became necessary following intelligence reports and concerns raised by residents in broader border communities. Faladay emphasized that the command remains proactive and committed to protecting lives and properties and warned that criminal elements attempting to enter the state will be decisively dealt with. He also highlighted the collaboration between the police, local security outfits, and other agencies as key to the success of the operation. Earlier, the Special Advisor on Security Matters, Brigadier General Ebenezer Ogudano, noted that the exercise is the second phase of ongoing efforts to reinforce security across Ekiti's boundaries.
That our intelligence revealed that there's an ongoing aggressive onslaught by the Nigerian military, the police, and other security agencies on the criminal element in our neighboring state of Kwara, Kogi, Osun, and some other part of the country. This operation is likely to force criminal elements to migrate into southwest region in search for safe haven. This special operation we are embarking on today is also to proactively curb this possibility external aggression. Farmers are now expected to be on their farms in their large number as a result of the rainfall. We must work assiduously to protect them and fight attack. This operation, if carried out thoroughly, will make it impossible for criminal elements to attack or kidnap farmers who are on their farm.
We assure our people that it's able to provide security for them so that Ekiti people will go about their normal business, not minding the situation in Kwara and Kogi states, including Ondo State too. So it is that spirit that we mobilized. The head of security agencies met and decided that this morning we have to move out. The criminals that think they can occupy anywhere in the Ekiti state and push out of wherever they are hiding in the state.
The Christ Global Network (CGN) has advocated a non-partisan national security summit in 2026 to harmonize security strategies across all levels of government. The group made the call during a one-day conference held at the Rema Christian Church and Towers Champion Peace Cathedral, themed Fire for End-Time Harvest. It also called for strengthened intelligence gathering and improved community policing frameworks. Our correspondent, Abiola Ismail, brings us more details in this report.
Ministers of God from Pentecostal denominations under the auspices of Christ Global Network Incorporated College of Bishops, converged on the Redeemed Christian Church and Tours Champions Peace Cathedral for the 2026 New Wine Fire Conference. The one-day conference themed Fire for End Time Harvest examined security concerns, economic reality in 2026, youth unemployment, and national development. President of CGN, Archbishop Taiwo Akinola, said the conference aligns with the promises of Jesus Christ to the church, stressing that believers are not meant to operate in weakness. Speaking on the theme, Archbishop Akinola explained that the primary objective of the gathering was to energize clerics to function in a new dimension.
Most importantly, it's connected to the heavenly mandate, fire for end time harvest. These are the end times. Time is ticking, and the time of prophetic destiny is also being consummated. The Bible says these are the last days, for whom Jesus Christ died must be harvested, and that with urgency. And that's why we as a body, Christ Global Network, we decided to have this team to dine with it so that the Holy Ghost will empower us to do that which God wants us to do.
Also speaking, the international coordinator of Christ Global Network, Bishop Abiodun Akinteye, alongside a leader in the group, Bishop Israel Alaya, noted a decline in the love of God, emphasizing the need for believers to be re-empowered through the world.
Without fire, there is no transformation. It is fire content, fire behind the word, fire behind the administration that bring transformation in the life of people. So, our Father in the Lord, His Grace, Archbishop Dr. Taiwo Akinola, came with this theme because it is timely and it is something that every minister will need for our work to count for God.
Fire for the end time harvest is the message of now. We all know what is happening today in our society. The love of people are going down because of the challenges they are going through here and there. Some didn't even have time to serve God again. And this is the season we need the fire for the end time, because the Lord will soon appear. And soon, very soon, we don't know the time, but he said we should prepare. So every believer needs this fire for the end time in order to finish well, finish strong, and never to meet our God empty-handed. That's the reason why we need the fire for the end time.
The conference acknowledged encouraging signs of economic stabilization, ongoing security efforts, and the resilience of Nigerians as a foundation for hope. It stressed that progress must be intentional, inclusive, and sustained, adding that with unity, accountability, and faith, Nigeria can overcome its current challenges and emerge stronger. Abiola Ismail, MITV Plus, Lagos.
And away from security, a Kaduna State High Court on Monday adjourned the hearing of a bail application filed by former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai to April 14, 2026. El-Rufai appeared before the court amid tight security as proceedings continued in a case filed against him and a co-defendant, Amadou Sule, by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, involving alleged financial impropriety and abuse of office. During the court session, El-Rufai entered a not guilty plea to all 9 charges brought against him by the ICPC on March 18. The ICPC, on the other hand, had requested that the second defendant, Amadou Sule, be removed from the arraignment with all charges against him, and the judge granted the plea. El-Rufai's counsel, Ukpon Akpan, however, urged the court to grant his client's bail, arguing that the former governor posed no flight risk and was willing to comply with any conditions imposed by the court. But the prosecution opposed the application, maintaining that the charges required careful judicial consideration. After listening to submissions from both parties, the presiding judge, Justice Darius Kobo, declined to deliver an immediate ruling and instead adjourned the matter to April 14 for continuation of hearing and possible determination of the bail request. And now to business news, the federal government has tasked Dangote Group to ramp up sugar production to 600,000 metric tons annually by 2030 as part of efforts to reduce imports dependence and boost local output. The directive was given by Minister of State for Industry John Owan Eno during an inspection of the Dangote sugar refinery in Numan, Adamawa State. The visit, alongside officials of the National Sugar Development Council, is part of ongoing nationwide checks on sugar projects in line with President Bola Tinubu's push for self-sufficiency in sugar production. The minister noted that Nigeria's current output remains far below its annual consumption of about 1.8 million metric tons and stressed that Dangote sugar is expected to play a major role in closing the gap. He, however, commended ongoing investments at the refinery, including a new 6,000 tons per day plant, and described it as a strong step toward achieving the backward integration program goals. In response, Dangote Group reaffirmed its commitment to meeting the 600,000 metric tons target by 2030 through expanded production and increased investment. Tension arising ahead of the 2027 general elections as members of the African Democratic Congress ADC in the House of Representatives called for the removal and prosecution of the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC, Professor Joash Amupito, over allegations of bias and compromised neutrality. Our correspondent Comfort Olayinka reports.
The ADC caucus made the demand at its inaugural meeting on April 12, accusing the INEC chairman of actions and statements they described as partisan and inconsistent with the expectations of his office. The lawmakers raised concern over alleged links between the commission's chairman and a controversial social media account, as well as what they termed undue interference in the party's internal leadership disputes. The lawmakers, however, warned that such actions could undermine public confidence in the electoral process if not urgently addressed. Echoing earlier concerns by Honorable Alpha Musigwe, the caucus noted that growing distrust in democratic institutions could escalate if decisive steps are not taken.
The House Caucus of the ADC on Monday, 13th April 2026, hereby calls for the removal of Professor Amuputa from office and advocates for his prosecution in order to safeguard the nation against an unavoidable descent into anti-democratic practices. The caucus is gravely concerned about the ostensibly undemocratic actions taken by INEC under the leadership of Professor Amuputa, which appears to deny the ADC the opportunity to participate in the forthcoming elections. This is being achieved through the perpetuation of a leadership crisis within the party, whereby INEC has abdicated its responsibility as an impartial arbiter and instead intervened in our party's internal affairs.
The lawmakers are also threatening to petition the National Judicial Council, calling on stakeholders and Nigerians to work together to safeguard the integrity of the electoral system and the judiciary ahead of 2027.
Meanwhile, in Lagos, the African Democratic Congress ADC reconstituted its leadership with Anjorin Omotayo emerging as a state chairman at a Ranko-free State Executive Congress held at the Salvador Towers, Surulere. The exercise was held in the presence of the chieftain of the ADC, Moshood Salvador, who said the Congress followed due process and constitutional arrangement of the party, while Sandra Orga, as the Congress secretary, signed the Congress results. The Congress recorded a huge turnout of accredited delegates from council areas across the state as officials adhered strictly to electoral guidelines, ensuring all aspirants went through screening to uphold internal democracy. After emerging as the new party chairman, Omotayo said the ADC is strengthening its structure in Lagos State for the 2027 elections, focusing on grassroots mobilization and challenging the ruling All Progressives Congress APC stronghold in Lagos.
ADC will take over Nigeria. And when ADC takes over Nigeria, ADC will take over Lagos State. And ADC will deliver the hope that Nigerians have long awaited.
Yes.
So I want us to keep faith alive and continue with the struggle, because the struggle is not over until after January 2027. So we'll keep all hands on deck, continue to do what we know how to do best, and continue to improve in areas that we are lacking behind. ADC must deliver Nigerians.
Now, ADC have a complete structure from what? From unit, the polling unit officers to ward, from ward to local government, and from local government we have the state ESCO, which we have inaugurated today by the officers from national. Nobody will ever vote for hunger. Nobody will ever vote for poverty. Nobody will ever vote for insecurity. We cannot sleep at night. Therefore, there is no doubt that APC will find its way out of this governance.
Very wonderful and tough process. At the end of it all, we give thanks to God. We give thanks to God for the successful Congress, one for the boards and the LGA conducted, and it was successful. We are here to work. I have able, powerful generals behind me. Wow. Able and powerful generals. It's time to win. Thank you for trusting us. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to lead.
Thank you so much for staying with us. It's still primetime news on MITV Plus. We'll take a quick break now. When we return, the news continues. Please stay with us.
Well, I have a feeling things are about to change.
The new season of the hit series Wura is coming to Africa Magic.
You don't say.
Here's everything you need to know about the woman behind the name to get ready.
This is well.
Wura is the ruthless CEO of Frontline Gold Mine.
I'm going to build our paradise here on earth.
She'll do anything to maintain her power and perfect image. Lies, fraud, and of course, murder.
Let the dead state hit her.
Many try to take her down, but she always claws her way back to the top.
I have a plan.
That is, until she discovers that the last person she murdered is her own abandoned daughter. The once unbreakable Wura begins to fall apart, and her empire of gold crumbles around her. But she would rather die than have the world discover who she truly is. Catch Wura Season 4 on Africa Magic Showcase and available to all on Africa Magic Family.
You're welcome back, and now to foreign news. Pope Leo says he has no intention to debate U.S. President Donald Trump after the U.S. leader criticized the pontiff's comments about the war in the Middle East. Donald Trump attacked Pope Leo late on 12th of April, Sunday, following the pontiff's criticism of his foreign and immigration policies. The Pope had voiced his concern about Trump's "a whole civilization will die" comment about Iran last week at a fraught moment in the war. Leo, who last year became the first US-born pope, had emerged as an outspoken critic of the US-Israeli war on Iran, which began on the 28th of February. He has previously questioned the Trump administration's approach to immigration. Leo should get his act together as pope, Trump wrote in a Truth Social post on Sunday, later telling reporters that he was not a big fan of the pontiff.
Sappiamo c'è stato anche questa minaccia contro tutto il popolo di Iran e questo veramente non è accettabile. Qui ci sono questioni, certamente una questione morale per il bene del popolo completo, intero.
We don't like a pope that's going to say that it's okay to have a nuclear weapon. We don't want a pope that says crime is okay in our cities. I don't like it. I'm not a big fan of Pope Leo. He's a very liberal person, and he's a man that doesn't believe in stopping crime.
The message of the church, my message, the message of the gospel, blessed are the peacemakers. I do not look at my role as being political, politician. I don't want to get into a debate with him. I don't think that the message of the gospel is meant to be abused in the way that some people are doing. And I will continue to speak out loudly against war, looking to promote peace, promoting dialogue and multilateral relationships among the states, to look for just solutions to problems. Too many people are suffering in the world today. Too many innocent people are being killed. And I think someone has to stand up and say, there's a better way to do this.
And still on the war, Iran has suggested that the United States blockade on Iranian ports will only hurt the international economy after President Donald Trump ordered a naval siege against the country. Trump warned Iranian military ships against approaching the blockade zone. The blockade, which Trump announced on Sunday after US and Iranian negotiators failed to reach a deal after a round of talks in Pakistan, came into effect on Monday at 10 a.m. in Washington, D.C. The United States move risks setting the stage for a major escalation that could fray a two-week ceasefire between the two countries, which went into effect on Wednesday. The United Kingdom Maritime Trade Operations Center announced that it was notified that the U.S. blockade will apply without distinction to ships engaging with Iranian ports and oil terminals. Although the ceasefire stipulated that Iran would open the Strait of Hormuz, vessel traffic has not increased in the strategic waterway. Iranian officials accused the U.S. of violating the truce by allowing Israel to continue to bomb and conduct a ground invasion in Lebanon. Pakistan, which mediated the ceasefire, had said all regional fronts, including Lebanon, were part of the deal. Meanwhile, more than 12 hours of face-to-face negotiations between the United States and Iran ended without agreement in Islamabad on Sunday, leaving a fragile two-week ceasefire as the only barrier between diplomacy and a return to war. Pakistan, which spent weeks positioning itself as mediator and succeeded in bringing both sides into the same room, emerged with its role intact. But officials acknowledge the harder phase now begins with getting American and Iranian negotiators back into talks before their differences explode into full-fledged war again. The talks, the highest-level direct engagement between Washington and Tehran since the 1979 Islamic Revolution, faltered over differences surrounding Iran's nuclear program. However, Vance left a narrow opening for the resumption of talks. Pakistani and Iranian sources confirmed that the Iranian delegation met senior Pakistani officials later on Sunday before departing for Tehran, although details of those discussions were unclear. And now to sports news. Spanish football clubs Atletico Madrid and Barcelona will meet for the third time in 10 days, but crucially with a UEFA Champions League semi-final berth on the line. Atletico may be far behind their Catalan opponents in the La Liga title race, but they go into Tuesday's fixture a strong favorite thanks to a first-leg victory against 10-man Barcelona at Camp Nou. and a strong home form in Europe this season. Barcelona, the reigning La Liga champions, will have it all to do if they are to keep alive the dream of clinching their sixth UCL trophy and first since the 2014-2015 season. The La Liga leaders were on top in the first half before Pau Cubarsí was sent off for bringing down Atletico's Giuliano Simeone, who was through on goal. Alvarez whipped home the free kick at the stroke of halftime, and Solos doubled their advantage in the 70th minute to give Atletico a strong chance of reaching the semi-finals. Meanwhile, Barcelona thrashed crosstown rivals Espanyol 4-1 on Saturday, taking a major step towards retaining the La Liga title as they moved 9 points clear of rivals Real Madrid, who are second. Iran's judiciary says the assets of the country's women's football team captain have been released by local authorities, reversing an earlier decision to seize them after the player sought and then withdrew an asylum claim in Australia last month. It added that the move was taken after a declaration of innocence following her change in behavior. Gambari was among a group of 6 players and one backroom staff member who sought asylum in Australia in March after playing in the Women's Asian Cup at the start of the US-Israel war on Iran. At the time, Australia's Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke said his country had offered asylum to all players and support staff members before their departure to Iran over fears that they might be punished upon their return home after the team refused to sing Iran's national anthem at the tournament. But 5 of them, including Gambari, later changed their minds and returned to Iran along with the rest of the team. They were given a hero's welcome at the special ceremony in central Tehran on March 19. And this is where we draw the curtain on primetime news tonight. Thank you so much for staying with us. Do well to follow us on all our social media platforms at MITV+_NG across Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and X. You can also watch our programs live on YouTube at MITV+_NG. Remember to click the like and subscribe button. I am Layo Shobo for Lauren Show. Do have a beautiful night.